welcome to the Yoga Love podcast. My name is Noelle Whittington. This is episode 5, and today we're going to talk about a host of subjects. The word that keeps coming up for me this morning in my visions and meditations is disconnection. So we talked about in the last podcast detox, and I talked a little bit about Teal Swan's idea of the fragmentations of consciousness and how I think that we can look at all of these as valid points of entry when we're thinking about being a whole and healthy and happy individual. And I'm doing this yoga teacher training called the Kunga Hands-On Assist Teacher Training in December in the Outer Banks of North Carolina in the cutest place called Duck at Village Yoga, and they're a Kunga Yoga affiliate studio. And this training is it's one of my favorites because it's almost entirely just hands-on assisting. And so it's 32 hours, it's like 4 days of just a complete love fest. And I was thinking about what it meant to be disconnected and fragmented going into the last weekend's detox vinyasa yoga teacher training, and how we often focus on one aspect of what we feel like health is. So there were people coming into the detox training really wanting to learn about the science of detox and why it works, or how to have a healthier diet, or what that meant to be healthy and to detox, as if there were something that they were doing wrong and they needed perhaps to be punished for it. And I think that's a lot of what's going on in our society, is that we have all of these creature comforts, and because we're not spending enough time, in contemplation and listening to what's going on the deeper levels of ourselves, we want to patch up the physical body and, enhance the outside of it as if it's going to somehow then heal the inside. And, it might. That's one of my favorite things about yoga, is that even if you came into the practice just looking to make your ass look great, eventually, if you keep with it and you keep at it and you're committed to it, your body and your habits and, your mind is going to change over time. You'll start being more considerate of others and more aware of yourself, and then the whole world will benefit. So I think that's really a lovely idea. And it's true, with steadfast practice, anything can happen. Patabi Joy says practice and all is coming. And so when we go into thinking about that word disconnect, I think of it in terms of everything being automated now, and all of our entertainment being electronic and behind a screen. We don't need to go out and see the sunrise or the sunset because there's beautiful videos of it on social media, and sometimes even people can go live so you can actually watch the sunset with them behind your screen. And every time I go to a concert, it's just phones up in the air. We forgot how to actually experience something. And if we feel disconnected from love, in terms of relationships, we can just, turn on Netflix and get involved in someone else's life. And with reality TV, it's almost as if it's actually existing. So we can do all of our banking online. We can hire somebody to, handle our website and just go on about our business. And, I personally spend a lot of time in the car driving to and from these teacher trainings, and it's a wonderful time for contemplation. So it's actually been a huge gift, giving me time to think about what it means to actually be connected and to be happy, and what it is that we truly want. And I think disconnect ultimately just comes down to forgetting that we're all in this together and that we're all one. And the soul is an idea that I've been contemplating lately, and was talking to one of my students in the Detox Vinyasa teacher training, and one of my fellow teachers about the difference between Brahman and Atman, and how ultimately Brahman, or creation, and Atman, the soul, are one and the same, but we need to have different ideas of what creation and the soul are, just so that we have all of these different words and different ideas for God. We can dance around the idea that we're all in it together. And it's really easy to feel disconnected if you don't have a loving family or friends who will hug you and give you massages, or a partner who, doesn't mind affection. And I really need people in my life who are loving, because my love language is definitely affection. And, when you're a yoga teacher, you give out a lot of energy, and in those assisting scenarios, I'm basically holding people up for 4 days, and then they can go back out and, give that love out into the world in a safe and sacred way. So, disconnect. How can we combat that? First of all, what's really important to us? I keep coming back in every single podcast. I think I've mentioned the top 10 values of nonviolent communication. cnvc.org. If you go on there and you look up needs and resources, needs and values are the same. So check it out. And Dr. Marshall Rosenberg is the developer of the compassionate communication model, and you can check out what your values are, and you can see how closely your life resembles those values. And I think that in terms of connection, the best thing that we can do is to try to find people to share time with that share our values. And then, hopefully, we'll feel safe enough to connect with them through physical touch, and perhaps then through that support system, we might be able to go within and to really figure out what soul means to us. And there's a lot that we can do in this life, and lately I've been traveling almost every weekend, and I'm also subbing classes and teaching in town, and don't really have days off right now, and it feels really full, and it feels really abundant, and it's really exciting, but also I'm feeling very depleted, and it's really great to have that time in the car, because I can think about what it is that I truly want. So for connection with the soul, building and maintaining a spiritual practice has been really important to me over the last 3 or 4 years specifically, and that can really just enhance every area of your life. But lately I've been contemplating what the soul's purpose is for myself and for one another. It's been something that's been coming up a lot in conversation, and I'm just really, really craving free time. And it's ridiculous, because I've created this beautiful life of abundance, and it feels like there's a lot going on, and something's about to change and break open, and there's going to be this new kind of paradigm shift for everyone. But I find myself kind of digging my heels back into the old patterns of being resentful of this life I've created, and wanting to just push the pause button or just quit it all together and run away. And you can't, as Bob Marley says, you can't run away from yourself. And I don't want to run away. I love, love, love what I'm creating, and I absolutely just, thank God every day for this life that I've been called into, and being able to support others and myself in that contemplation of, what is important, why do I exist? Why am I here? What's my purpose? So I decided to take a Kundalini yoga class, and it's a series class at my friend Rachel Goolsby's home studio. And my teacher's name is Adi Krishna, and Adi Krishna taught us this Laya Yoga chant. And the Laya Yoga chant is really helpful for me, because I'll just read you the description. This is from the 3ho.org website. And it is, this extraordinary Laya Yoga chant brings the soul and destiny present. It lets your activity serve your purpose. It makes you creative and focused on your real priorities and helps you sacrifice what is needed to accomplish them. The word Laya refers to suspension from the ordinary world. Laya Yoga fixes your attention and energy on your essence and higher consciousness without normal distractions and attachments having power over your reactive awareness. This mantra opens the secret book of Laya Yoga. It enables you to consciously remember and experience the link between you and the Creator. Practice the mantra for 40 to 120 days, and it will etch into the subconscious the memory and experience of your true identity. It goes on even more, but it's so funny how that showed up. It was exactly what I was looking for. The word that I was looking for when oftentimes I have to kind of mentally prepare myself and, drag myself to my next location, throw some things in my suitcase and keep going forward is sacrifice. What do I need to sacrifice in order to meet my goals? And I think I shared with you in a previous podcast that one of my goals is to have a home in Costa Rica. And it's not so much the home in Costa Rica, it's the representation of being more connected to the cycles of nature and having a more simple life and being able to set my own schedule and not work so much all the time. Do you feel me? Sometimes I feel like I am just constantly on. And so lately I've had to create like pockets of space where I just lay in my bed and don't talk to anybody for, an extended period of hours. And it recharges me physically, but mentally it leaves me feeling uninspired, and I'm just craving a deeper connection where I can feel inspired and I'm not constantly responsible for someone's experience, I guess. And I know that as teachers, we're not responsible for another person's experience, but I take it so seriously what someone takes away from a workshop, and I just, I want to protect everyone and create an environment where they can experience whatever is true and real for them. So I'm seeking that out for myself, and so this Laya Yoga chant is really helping me to stop the internal temper tantrum of continuing to work. It's almost as if, we want these goals and we want to achieve these dreams, but then we resent the work that we have to put in to get there, and then we question everything. I'm like, why am I, what am I doing here? Why am I doing this? So that's important for us to ask ourselves why. And in terms of connection with all aspects of ourselves, we do have to really get to know what our soul wants, and the only way that we can understand what our intuition and our soul is telling us is if we are quiet enough and slow enough to listen, and then we have to take action. So I think it's perfect that Kundalini Yoga has popped up, because it's a lot of breath work, which moves energy and creates energy and can control it. Yama means to restrict or to control, and Kundalini uses a lot of Kriyas. And I had always thought that Kriya meant repetitive cleansing movement, but it actually also means action. So, it only works if you work it, right? So we've got to take responsibility for connecting with the needs of all aspects of ourselves: body, mind, heart, and spirit. And I think heart and spirit are interchangeable. So detox is great. Living our most healthy life physically and noticing the way that we speak to ourselves and about ourselves is important for mental health. And, for closing the screens and turning them off and turning to the beauty of nature is another way to connect mentally. I have these beautiful windows in my home now, and every morning you can see the trees and you can hear the birds, and it was raining this morning when we started the podcast, and it's just lovely, being able to just look at the clouds One of my friends, Taylor, calls days off where she does nothing cloud days, where she's only allowed to watch the clouds go by, and I think that's beautiful. It's always stuck with me. So Taylor, if you're listening, thank you. So how can we have more cloud days where we do less? And it's great to work hard and to say yes to as much as possible, but just to make sure that it's serving your purpose and you're continually checking in with what you believe that is, and that your efforts are giving you at least a sustainable energy exchange. It's not that we give gifts for seeking anything in return, but we do have bills to pay, and we do have goals and dreams, and, you know, especially in America, it can get really tricky. You know, we think that we need more than we do, and, you know, that's what all the magazines and the TV shows tell us, you know, that we have to have the nice car and the nice house, and, you know, be able to afford the finer things in life. But I think ultimately we're all just craving a deeper connection with nature, and, you know, seeking out someone that we can share values with. That's what I want. So I'm moving more and more and more toward a simple life, and hopefully along the way I can share those values with as many of you as possible. So let me know what you thought about this episode, and if you'd like to discuss another topic, please let me know. And if you would like to try the Laya Yoga chant, it's on the 3HO website under 3.5 cycle Laya Yoga chant. That's Laya. And I'll post the link in the description of this podcast. So I hope that you find your soul's true purpose, and that you can find the energy to sacrifice what is needed to achieve your dreams and your destiny. I love you. I'll see you soon. Namaste.